One. Right, recording has started. Who lost or won the role, depending on your perspective?
I think Torbrand still needs to roll.
Yes,
Right.
Torbrand does need to roll. And he's going to roll a 3.
And that one.
Hopefully,
1,
because
2,
I'm
or
not
3.
Prepared.
Let's go. 1, 2, or 3. It might
You are
actually
not
be just a
prepared.
group recap because it's been 2 weeks. A 2. You
I
did
rolled
the
a
Two.
1.
There you go. Get
And
fucked.
that 20.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Get baited.
karma's gonna come bite you in the ass. You want that in your next
Oh
roll.
yeah, it is.
Right. Okay. Do you need a hand, Marla, or are you good to get this one?
I need a hand, but basically what happened was that we emerged from the Feywild into a scene straight out of hell. In the distance we can see the citadel smoking, and we were in this valley where we kind of shat our pants because there was a dragon. We were pretty sure there was a dragon, and we managed to elude it with a lot of good luck, basically. We had Voldred cast some useful spells, and we attempted to stealth and keep silent, even though musically all of us were heavy armor. I didn't realize that until that happened. And we made our way to the citadel, and everything was dead and charred and stained, and it looked like basically the biggest city in the world had just been completely destroyed. And we explored up until the church, I think. I believe so.
Yep. To the highest,
Yeah.
all the way up to the church and castle.
Yeah, and there were ashes upon ashes, and we saw basically dead people in the church as if they had been holed up together to protect themselves in there, and we also saw uh Varney, the last of his name, as a dead character, pointing to something. Like you could see his decayed necrotic hand, and it was holding a metal object like a scroll casing of some sort, and we take that. Uh,
I'm
and
willing to
then this
bet that the moment we left, he turned back normal.
it's possible.
Well, that was it.
Um,
That was it for today.
in any case, after all of this nothingness, let's say, we came upon a character with gray skin and purple eyes who seemed well armed and well equipped, and he conjured the door for us. He knew a lot about us, like suspiciously a lot. And there's this sense of livelihood through the door, like we could sense that this portal, through it, there was kind of like a better world, something before all of this destruction. So we walk through the door and dissipate. The figure was Dan Glebos. We know a lot about him out of game, but in game we don't know anything about him. He was just fucking weird. And he mentioned also that the genie we that made our deal with in the previous session, he owes him some years apparently. So in case we run into that genie again, maybe we should ask about that. So we go through the conjured portal, and on the other side, it feels like we are 3 or 4 years before our initial visit to the Golden Keep. We are in this cathedral, so and it's Sunday, so we might as well attend church. We weren't quite dressed in the appropriate attire, but we sit and listen to the sermon. A lot of people were like they had this memorized tune. They were singing. They were completing this hymn. Um, and Pope Varney himself was hosting a sermon. Um, and we wait for the sermon to end, basically, and then try to speak to Barney to warn him of the dire situation in the future. Of course, he kind of dismisses us because that's a little suspicious, obviously. But he does wonder about the canister scroll case thing that we picked up in the future, and he shows that he has a leather replica of it, and he wants it. So I don't
Leather
remember if
run
he gave it to.
leprechaun.
Yeah. uh, he says he knows not of the residuum mining in Firefall so far. We warn him that it may be best that they don't start such an operation at all, if it will come to pass in the next few years. We issue a warning and we are taken to the Citadel. We take a sum of money in exchange for the scroll that we give Varney. And in the vault, which I guess is where we went to collect our money, we meet a younger and drunk Sir Lothar being thrown out. That's it.
And I think that was a very well detailed recap for everyone. Do you need any help? The question to the rest of the party here. Does anyone have anything else to add, or shall we just jump on in?
Nope.
Okie dokie. So, stumbling to his feet, his beer-stained tunic, gambeson exposed, lack of armor, with a heavy set of bags under his eyes, and a horrendous odor of cat and beer in various quantities that you are just aware this is a walking problem for whoever stumbles into this creature at this moment in time. The Sir Lothar before you stands to his feet, looks at you all curiously. What? Am I supposed to dance for you, or get out of my eye if you have
Buster!
got to say?
Buster, move!
Look at you, mom's splitting image. Said somehow you managed to be even more worthless than her, didn't you?
Do you know who I am?
I know exactly who you are,
Yeah, likely.
Mr. White Mantle.
He gives you a very stern look. Do I owe you
I
money?
return it. Oh no, you owe me more than money.
Get in line.
Ah. Just what Alberic would say. Is there a single original line coming out of that brain of yours? Absolute disgrace.
I don't know you.
Oh, well, yeah, you do. Well, add a few more years and you're definitely going to.
Are you going to hold me up and accost me all day, or are you going to let me go?
He's going to gently push him further. The garbage you drink.
He sort of stumbles and collapses into the wall of the side of the bank building. He
I
props
said.
himself up. He looks aggressively towards you, begins to hold himself, sort of plumps up his chest and just starts to walk straight towards you. Aggressive intent, obviously displayed.
Mom's splitting image. What, did we inherit her brains as well?
I don't know who you think you are, but you can't. And he throws a right hook at you.
I take it.
All right, straight on the cheek. Take 1 point of bludgeoning damage.
I know all your moves. I know everything you're going to do in the next 3 years, you little piece of shit.
He throws a left hook.
I take this one as well.
1 more point of bludgeoning damage.
You about done yet?
I don't know who you think you are, but
Oh, yes. You're... You know, looking from outside it,
He throws
we
another
actually
one,
managed...
but completely misses.
This... Yeah, okay. We somehow managed to be more of a disgrace than everyone in our line. Can you imagine that?
As he sort of
You
gains
know,
his bearings again, squares up, and he's really going to grab you this time. Firm
well,
grip
what are you
on
going
both your collar.
What are you going to do? Strangle me?
I'll cast Sentry on the good
Go
Silverthorn.
ahead. Go ahead.
Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Prove your dad's splitting image. With mom's brains to boot. Go ahead. Prove your fucking curse.
He goes to headbutt you, but as he pulls you in, instead of pulling you in, he pushes you away and gets the motion completely the wrong way. So he headbutts backwards whilst pushing you away. You can see that there's just a complete disorientation in this environment. He failed the sanctuary roll.
How exactly I managed to straighten myself up, I will never understand. You
What are you?
about done yet?
What are you? And he's just muttering under his breath. There's just a out of breath as this drunken buffoon before you just stops, still holding onto you.
You about done with this?
Who are you?
Here's what you're going to do, Lothar. Somewhere on the outskirts of town, somewhere around here, around this city, maybe southwest, there's a chapel. A chapel dedicated to a god from the Dominion. Chapel dedicated to Torm, the silver one. Now, in precisely maybe a day from now, you're going to be there, on your godforsaken knees, asking for a chance to actually redeem this cursed bloodline of ours. Because, in a couple of years, you're actually going to find somebody worth, making a difference for.
Yeah, like that'll ever happen.
Oh
You
well.
sound like you know
Trust.
me, but you don't know nothing about me. If that's
And
what
at
you
this,
believe.
I just slap him at this point.
You are you still wearing any jewelry?
I would be wearing my signet ring.
Yeah. You feel on your left cheek where you just made the impact, like a very small, like hairline scar just appear under your left eye.
It's interesting.
As
Now
he
straighten
looks back at
yourself.
you, and there is a fresh cut in exactly the same place.
Now straighten yourself up. For good this time. For whatever reason, either a god or his power picked you. We can't get properly drunk because we are already infused with it.
Well, who's the royal we? Are you buying?
Look up at me.
He does, but it's only about an inch because he's not wearing any shoes.
I swear to the gods, just like Mother. You remember? Do you remember when we found her almost buried in bottles of wine?
I told one person about that. Who are you?
Not the other person. Do you remember how she used to beat us afterwards? Whenever we saw her stumble? You remember how she used to put her shame on us?
He starts looking at the rest of the group. Who is he? Who is this man?
Or should we talk
It
about
is.
Dad? About Dad and his murdered mistress that he had us just drag out of the house and leave out into the open.
He goes to swing for you again.
I take it.
It's sort of half-hearted as you realize the impacts. There's almost just like a complete lack of weight behind it, as you all see this drunkard now who is transitioning between a constant flux of anger and weeping, but he's making no noise.
Yeah, just what exactly did Tancred see in us anyway, huh? When he recruited us. Just what exactly did he see? I know you wonder it. I wonder it. Now you about done turning yourself into a buffoon and actually doing something worthwhile with this last few years you've got?
Get out of my head and get out of my face.
Oh, I don't have to get out of your head. Just like you don't have to get out of mine. I know exactly who you are, just like you know exactly who I am. Now stop being an idiot and believe your eyes, or what's left of them.
I have no idea what you're talking about, you red-headed.
Oh, really? Do I need to tell you everything we did from our earliest memory? Until you get the bloody point, you absolute disgrace?
You talk real weird. Straight
Yeah,
ahead.
so do you. So do you. Now you're going to get on that horse you got, which you're only going to have for a little bit because he's going to die on the way. And make your way to the chapel I told you about. And then you're going to pray until it seems like somebody might be listening.
So let me get this straight. You accost a drunk who's been indignantly wrongfully thrown out of a bank who won't settle his debt.
Because, yeah,
And now you're telling me a
that
drunk
tomorrow
in
morning
my
when you're...
state to ride a horse.
Yeah, it's not the first time we would have done it, isn't it?
No, but you know the rules around here, or don't you? No drinking and driving horses.
Nobody ever paid a damn. You're a guy in armor. Nobody gives a damn about you riding a horse. So,
It's not what the noble did when he put me in this state.
well, tomorrow morning when you're going to be sober, you're going to realize that you need to read the contract to get better next time.
Sure.
Exactly.
And he pushes back.
Now, you're a drunken disgrace worthy of the white mantle name. How about you go actually change that this time around?
Only one thing's worth changing that for. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah, well, like I said. You know, when I turn to the party, the gods, if they're watching, really do have a sense of humor, don't they?
The rest of you, as Lothar's got his back to you, just watch as drunk Lothar is now stumbling down the steps out of the way, making his way towards the gatehouse to the lower tier.
Um, Ariel is just going to say, "You sure gave him a good speech there."
Well, felt like talking to myself, didn't it?
I think it's literally talking to yourself.
You know, there is something about... You know what? I'll tell you the full story some other time, once we're at a table with a drink. But seeing how we just got the lot of us tossed through time from one end to another and from one bit of chaos into another bit of chaos, I think I might as well tell the lot of you who you are actually dealing with and who you're actually traveling with.
Is that fool still giving you trouble, sir? One of the guards
Nah.
who tossed just your previous self out in front of you is now wandering over.
No, he'll, I was giving him trouble, so, no need. He'll crawl out, find another ditch to sleep in for tonight. Don't think he'll be any trouble.
Yeah, well, he's been here every day this week trying to get this draft checked, and we keep turning him away, telling him it's forgery.
Did he happen to leave it here this time?
Oh, we've confiscated it this time. We're done with it. He's not having another one.
Mind if I have another? Mind if I have a look at it?
By all means, useless to me. And he hands you a promissory note, which has on there two L White Mantle. The House of Edmund hereby honours its debt in resolution to the task requested recently for your aid to 150 gold pieces.
Just out of curiosity, since our friend here was too drunk to ask, what exactly made it a forgery? Well,
Well,
how'd you realize?
the fact that it's signed by Lord Edmund. He
And
died
why would
last
that
week.
be a problem?
Funeral was
Maybe he
yesterday.
signed. Maybe he signed it before.
Well,
Could have
in
been a
which
longer
case,
task.
as we've said, we need him to get represented. Upon death, checks are no longer honoured.
Oh, I see. So it doesn't matter whether it's a forgery or not. If somebody dies,
He has
he
to go
takes
to the
his debts
estate.
with him. Oh well.
But can I help you today?
Yes, we're supposed to cash in some. Ariel, you were keeping tabs. How much are we supposed to get for our small service to Pope Varney himself?
Oh, to the Pope.
Uh,
He sort of stands to attention.
Ah, well,
What
we
do you call Jesus?
Do you have a note?
yeah, we do. And he
yeah,
hands him the note. That is it with you, Ariel, or is it with me? And I look through my
I
pockets.
think it's with you. I didn't write it down.
As you
And I hand
present
him the note
paperwork.
that the Pope's aid. I mean, unless he died in the last 10 minutes, pretty sure he's this one's valid.
Come in, come in. I'll see to this being cleared immediately for you as priority guest. As you follow in, there is a wonderfully open atrium with a small singular fountain with a small decorative statue adorning the top out of gold. And you can see it's got this individual, sort of like a youthful male, with his hands outstretched holding an abacus. And there's water pouring out of various parts of the abacus going down into the fountain. In the foyer area, you can see there's particularly lots of warm, featured paintings. This is a very well off establishment. As you can sense that from your memory, this is one of the two banks in the actual Golden Keep. And this one usually honors and deals in promissory notes, whereas the other one actually carries most of the city's wealth outside of the reserves that operate within the castle and the actual keep of the Golden Keep itself. In terms of the thing that catches your eye, I think Torbrun is the most observant. At about 2 or 3 feet away from you, on the side to which you entered on the wall, there is a large mirror. And the thing that catches your eye is that as you sort of glance into it, the reflection looking back at you is not your own. You are still a dwarf, though the face you wear is not yours. Your hair is now a tinted, slight blonde.
I will sort of glance at it, look away. It's like, wait, and I'll give it a proper look.
Just as it was a second ago. Your face is not yours. There is a stranger looking back at you in this mirror. And you do the whole sort of like the hand. From what you can guess, it's you.
Do we still see him as we knew him?
You do.
Okay.
Voldreth.
Hey, what you doing to the mirror, you crazy bat? You had too much to drink.
Come here, you old hag.
Oh, okay, what am I looking at?
The wall.
You see
Right.
in the mirror to both of you, what you consider a youngling dwarf. Almost like you would class as a newborn infant, though probably in his first 50 years or so.
Aw.
Hey, I can run around
Look at
again.
you.
Look at me jump. Oh, yes.
You still feel the chronic pain as you do so.
Oh, my knees. Oh, you lie.
You got the worst of both worlds.
You two haven't seen a mirror before?
Hey, look at this, though. It's me as a baby.
I
Yeah,
walk
Luther,
behind
come
them.
here. I want to
I'm
see
really
what you look
curious.
like.
I'm really curious what Ariel sees in the mirror, so she's gonna approach, see what's going on. What are you guys doing?
So, as Ariel steps forward, just standing behind the dwarves, you
Mhm.
all just see Ariel as you expect to see her. And you each see each other as you expect to see each other, but yourselves are different. However, Ariel, I need you to roll a d20, please.
Oh, fun. 7.
7. Now I need you to roll a d4.
1d4. 3.
Okay, interesting. I'll let you pick a range now of a number between 20 and 25.
23.
Okay, you see looks like a female, dark-skinned human of about 23 years of age, looking back at you.
Oh, a human, you
What
said, right?
Human, yes.
exactly is what exactly is in that mirror? Lothar walks behind them as well.
Take a look
Y-
yourself.
You see a billowing, flowing, red-locked hair, a gargantuanly rotund individual who barely fits his armor.
Oh, really let myself go, didn't I? Yeah, no wonder the dolt couldn't recognize me.
I think you gave him a right scare in light
He's
of this.
So,
He's
so do
earned
we
it.
only see the reflection of ourselves different?
Yes.
Right, so I
You
wouldn't see
cannot perceive what they all see in themselves.
Right, so I wouldn't see Voldreth as a baby.
No.
Right, okay.
Oh, so in the mirror, if we look at the same time, we don't see the other reflections?
No.
Oh, weird. This is
Wait,
a
so
strange mirror. I'm gonna assume the mirror is enchanted.
I don't think it's the mirror.
The
Has to
guard
be the
makes his
mirror.
way back over to you holding a large bag of coins. Can I help? You seem quite fascinated with this mirror.
It's
It's not for sale, I'm
What?
afraid, before you ask.
nah,
We just had a little discussion. Do
just
you...
interesting workmanship. Nothing like the Dominion stuff they have back in the Dominion.
No, I would say my hair is brown, but my fellows here would disagree and say it's blonde. Would you... What's your opinion on that?
Um, uh, Master Dwarf, forgive me, I do not wish to insult. Um,
No offense.
perhaps a lighter brown, more towards a lighter coloured brown.
Then
And
don't
by
be
the way,
afraid to.
the bank welcomes your patronage and thanks you for your service to the city. As he hands
No
the dwarves the
problem.
coins.
I'll be taking that. Appreciate it. Thank you for your contribution to our friendly discussion. I
Very well.
told you so.
Is there anything else I can be helping with today?
Talk to Lothar.
um, just again, out of sheer curiosity, when I look at the paper, is there anything that would make this actually worth anything?
Oh,
Because
the thing that the drunk tried to present.
mhm.
Um, well, if it was reissued and honored and signed by the new head of the state, or head of the estate, then yes, it would be valid and presentable. Though it's why we confiscated it, and he holds his hand out expectantly.
So, if you do confiscate it, that means it won't be. It'll probably end up in a file cabinet somewhere with no chance of actually being honored.
Oh, it will be burned eventually, but once it's processed our procedures, I believe it takes a couple of days, and a note will be sent back to the estate to say that it's been presented, however, it's voided. But we don't request a refund, we don't request another, that's up to them to resolve.
Would you mind if I tried to see if this gets settled some way?
Uh,
In case our drunken friend was somebody with the Adventurers Guild. I'm also with the Adventurers Guild.
I
I
see.
would not want any ill blood between the guild and prospective customers. If this is indeed a forgery, it's better that we know. If it's not, unhonored contracts, as you probably well know, have a very a particular manner of souring the waters of business with the guild. Wouldn't you say?
He's going to make a quick history check. Well, to my memory, sir, I may be perhaps wrong in this, if you are, say as you say, a member of the guild. I was under the knowledge that the guild operated in cash payments upon completion. We do not usually, if ever, in fact, in my memory, I do not remember resolving a promissory note from the Adventurers
Mm,
Guild. So
the guild also does some low level brokerage between parties.
I see.
So you can leave a note at the guild saying that you're looking for somebody to do a personal job for you. Then there's the guild just acts as a go-between.
Very well, though I've yet to process one. Though I will be taking this, and he sort of takes it quickly out of your hand unless you resist.
Um, excuse me, sir, I do not want to seem brash or anything, but you seem rather eager to take this off my hands.
Once something's been stamped and marked, it's not really up for recirculation. And as he sort of turns it around before you can see there's like a red cross that's been issued to the back of the paperwork itself. He says this invalidates it and means it won't be presentable anywhere in the Golden Cube. However, as I say, if you wish, I will make a note. If I could take your name, and should you pop in at any time in the next sort of few weeks, I will be able to advise you on the status of if a similar note from this estate is processed.
We both know this is going to get covered up in weeks, unless somebody looks into the issue personally.
I wouldn't know of anything of the sort, I'm afraid. But this has been a discarded promissory note, so it now needs taking out of circulation. It's bank regulations, you see.
Hmm.
And with that, please do bear in mind, if any of you have any other business, we are more than happy, as always, here at the Heavy Bag to resolve any issues for you. And if we
A
have,
heavy bag.
yes, that is the name of our establishment, and we do always aim to leave you in a positive mind. So on this occasion, I do unfortunately have to say that you won't be leaving with this paperwork, though I do hope you have enjoyed our service today.
Of course, and he does hand the paper over, but after he tries to commit as much as he can of it to memory.
Very well. Make a history check for me. I'll give you advantage because you've been holding on to this for 10, 15 minutes at this point. 14 and an
18.
18. Okay, on an 18, you make a note of the Edmund estate. You make a note of the handwriting as to the best as you can. And you're fairly confident, sort of, at least for the next sort of couple of days, you might be able to recognize either the handwriting or, well, you have the name of the Edmund estate as well.
Mhm.
And for 150 gold pieces is the amount.
And that concludes our business, and I honestly do hope this does not end up souring relationships with the guild, or between House Edmund and the guild.
Of
If I were
course.
you, sir, as an advice, I would look into it. It would
Noted.
be a shame to.
Could I take your name?
It would be a. Yes, Sir Alberic.
Sir Alberic.
Yes,
Alberic.
write down Sir Alberic. Ravenswood.
Alberic Ravenswood. Very well. Where would your estate be heralded from, sire? Just for our record
Um,
keeping.
I am a nobleman of the Iron Dominion,
I
currently
see. I see.
lodged at the Adventurers Guild.
Fantastic. Brilliant. I will have our squires just obviously confirm a few things on the background of research, but obviously if at any point you send any of your entourage or any squires, we'll be sure to disclose to them as agreed what we've discussed today.
Well, like I said, it would be a shame for stuff to go awry due to some clerical error, don't you think?
We have a very high audit record here, and we hold
Everybody
all
makes
paperwork in the
mistakes,
most. Uh,
and
Sir,
yet
it
everybody
does
makes
concern me
mistakes.
that you are of a specifically negative disposition this morning. Unfortunately, I might suggest that you have perhaps a fine walk in the sunlight today. But thank you for your time.
I will take your advice. And I incline my head courteously and depart. Turn
Goodbye.
around and leave.
Thank you for your business at the Heavy Bag. Door closed.
So did any of that seem completely suspicious to any of you?
You kind of just don't have the groundwork done. Like you
Oh, well, like I
haven't
said,
reintroduced yourself to the
I was
city.
drinking. But does he remember what he did for the House of Edmund?
You could make a history roll with disadvantage. Because this is a period of your life that, as you in your backstory said, drunk.
3.
At the moment, it's something you're going to have to ponder on at great length, but nothing comes
I
to
was
mind.
probably drunk when I did it too.
And so, as the party heads on out into the blazing sun, past midday at this point, the day is yours in the fresh and bustling, very much alive, great city, the Golden Keep. What do you wish to do?
Might as well get ourselves lodged at the Adventurers Guild again. If I can fit through the door, that is.
Do they sell any groceries in this location?
Oh, they do. Fresh from the Dominion.
I would like to
Actual.
pop by there.
Actual. There's an emporium in the docks area. I'm assuming the city has water access, right? Do I
So
remember
there's a
correctly?
great lift that leads from the sky docks down to the actual
Mhm.
harbour on the sheer cliff face. You are aware that there is both a small market at the docks, which is open very early in the mornings and is usually closed by this time of day. However, most of that produce usually then makes its way into the city and is in the market stalls itself. Though food and fresh rations are usually not redistributed amongst the city, they have made their way to the upper echelons of the establishments the restaurants, the fine whining dealers, those who will charge a pretty penny for actual produce in a city run predominantly on conjured food.
So he would, if Torbjorn wants, he would lead them to the emporium where he usually buys food from the Dominion, from the former Kingdom of Arling.
So it would take you back outside the city to, from your memory, Torbjorn, pretty much to exactly where you first laid eyes on Voldreth as you approach the great step, the sea casting out before you on the horizon as you have left the city gates, the city walls, and you are now faced looking over a large set of wooden planks that build almost off to the edge, heavily reinforced with many struts and sturches leading into the actual cliffside. This is the landship. This is the skyship mooring section, and to the right hand side, you can see there's this large construction of a mechanical lift, which uses several counterweight systems, and at the moment you can see it's currently at the top and ready and available if you wish to attempt to descend.
Yes.
As
Is
you enter,
anyone manning the
you
lift?
can see that there's a section of pulleys, a couple of levers. You can see that they're
Mhm.
locked into one position, and it only goes forwards or backwards. The assumption would be one will be unlocking the weight, and the other would then be to allow the descent.
This is probably a safe decision. Anyone care to join?
I'm taking it. I'm assuming Lothar took it plenty of times, right?
A few times, yeah.
No. It's well, haven't died taking it yet. So I suppose there's something to that.
Well, off we go then. I will
With a heavy
pull.
crack and a creak, the metal gives way, and you just hear this heavy chain begin to as the elevator begins to descend. It takes you about 10 minutes to descend this 2,000-foot drop. And as you're going down, you can see on the rocks, the cliff face itself, it's sheer and smooth, but it has little outcroppings, and you can see nests, bird nests. You can see the remains of small insectoid, small sets of bones every now and again littered. You can also see just a huge change in the stature of the rock. It goes from a sort of a lighter, marbly coloured set of sediment, and as you begin to descend about halfway down, it's now this deep, black, almost obsidian-like colour. This heavy bedrock, almost, as you descend down this face. And with a large the elevator itself locks its chains position. Subconsciously, you know the right thing to do is to just put a lock on the base of the elevator, just move the anchor forward once again. You would have noticed on the descent, about halfway down, a secondary elevator opposite to you would have passed you going up, also empty at the time. Though as you are now at the base of this cliff, you see evidence of what would normally be a bustling harbour. You can see two large ships are docked here, many small trader vessels, though it does appear there's no market currently open, but you can see the stalls that were here and probably busier this morning. And there's various bodies making their way up and down. You can see fishermen gearing up and readying a vessel to your left. The triumphant trout emblazoned on the side of that vessel. However, doesn't seem to be much people about in total. What are you looking for?
I
Uh,
will walk up to the first person I see.
Okay,
I'll-
it's a sort of older-looking gentleman, long-wintered beard that's sort of trimmed down to sort of just below the neck. He's carrying himself a couple of sets of traps.
Good day, sir. I heard there might be some fresh produce that I might be able to acquire.
Oh
Would you
well,
be able to help me with that?
I think you've missed the market. We closed a couple of hours ago, just after sunrise for a couple of hours until all the stock's gone. You come back in the morning, you'd find it then, right here.
Well, you see, my belly is starting to grumble, so if you
Well, I
know
pity
any,
you for that, but nothing I can do about it, I'm afraid.
is the Emporium closed?
No, it just finished for the day.
Oh, I just missed it.
Well, a couple of hours,
does
just
that
missed,
mean
yeah.
that everything's gone?
Yeah, pretty much. We only got a couple of crates of this and a few kilos of that, a few bags of this. It's not a great haul, you know. It depends when the trade vessels get in it, really.
When would the next freight vessel be here?
Beats me. Most people come down right as sunrise hits. That way they have first dibs.
Hmm.
Not a fan of conjured food, then.
Yeah, it's tastes like absolutely nothing, and I grew up in the Dominion. So
Well, you must be awfully well off then. The life of me don't know when the last time was I had anything fresh.
well, like I said, they it's where most of my money goes, and you can say I'm
A bit well
about to
off, eh?
become a it's not
I'll
that
admit,
expensive, you know. You can just buy potatoes, and they still taste better than the garbage they conjure up. You don't need to go for the actual meat. That's expensive.
To each their own. If you don't mind, sirs, I've got to crack on. And he starts walking off with his shoulders carrying various traps and cages.
Ah well,
before
guess
you
it's
walk
tomorrow.
off, I can't help but notice you are carrying traps.
Yep.
Would you be able to point me to a location where I might be able to grab something for myself?
He points out towards the ocean.
Oh, it's fish traps, right? Well,
No. Wait down.
Um,
Da,
weapons
da.
to catch
Wait down.
fish.
Say again, Ariel.
Use weapons to catch fish. Try an arrow at them. Throw an arrow at them.
fireball!
Yeah.
Well, I will walk to the dock, see
Uh-huh.
if there's anything alive that's visible from the
Make
edge
a
of the dock.
perception check for me.
Perception. Oh, that's the wrong one. 14.
14. As you look out, sort of looking around, where you would expect to see some kind of algae, it's present. Though seaweed and moss seem to line the wooden joists and beams of this jetty and harbour itself. You look at the surface of the water, mostly calm, the gentle waves rolling in, the boat slowly rocking upon the tide that's beginning to shift at this moment. Though, with a 14, you don't see anything that would resemble a fish or crustacean, as the voice from behind you sort of mockingly says, "You're gonna have to travel quite a bit out to see if you want to find anything. That's what these are for. And what's that for?" He points to the boat.
Yeah. Not today, I'm afraid. Is there any exit to like the forest or just outside of the city from the docks, or would
So
I have to go up?
you are at the bottom of this great elevator, and
Mm-hmm.
this is just straight the docks. There is
Right.
no beach accompanying it. There is no lowland. It is just sheer cliff face that this docks has been built onto, basically.
All right. Well, at least we tried. I guess I'd better get out of the castle gates then. Fetch something myself if you want something as well, Lothar.
Ah, well, you
Yeah,
do we have
we
anything?
went.
Do we have anything that we can still cook?
Uh, Let me check my bag. I have some Drake rations if that's your fancy still.
Make sure those are still good. I have no idea what the kind of dimensional travel we just went through does to the kind of food we eat.
Well, it worked the first way around when we went into the Fey realm.
Hmm.
I have a
don't
mortal bell cap, supposedly. One of two. And alright, I have this bowl of mushrooms from our good old lady friend.
I would toss those away.
Uh,
Or just keep them for something else. We do not eat anything that came from that
Is
creature.
there are there any animals scurrying about?
With your 14, you can
Rats, dogs,
see
cats?
there's a couple of gulls nesting upon the rock faces above you, sort of in their nesting. You see, perhaps with an acute eye and specifically looking for it, one or two rodents scurrying around between crates, making a dart for it.
I will grab one of the mushrooms from the bowl of mushrooms and sort of crumble it up and toss a little bit towards the rodents and a little bit towards the seagulls.
Seagulls seem completely non-interested, though the rodents scurry away at where you initially throw the debris.
You ever even eat one of those?
No, I wasn't allowed to include them in the one time you decided to join supper.
Though after a
Oh,
while, one of the rodents scurry back and begins to sniff at the
ooh.
flakes and the debris, chomps down on it, scurries off.
Hmm. I will take some of the mushroom that's still in my glove, like some of the scrap remains, and I'll just sort of rub it on like my like palm of my hand. I'm just gonna wait to see if it does anything,
Sure.
a rash or some other
Nothing
thing.
immediate.
I will give it some time while we continue
Sure.
doing other things.
As you stand
Why don't
out
we
at the
head back?
base of the cliffs, what is it you wish to do?
Let's go back up. There's no food that we're gonna get here anytime soon.
Might as well. Want to camp out, or should we see if we can find any lodgings at the guild?
Oh, considering it's just past midday, we should have some time. Get a
I
proper meal
think
before.
we should introduce ourselves to the guild and potentially get jobs from there again.
We should. One thing we need to do, however, is not forget exactly why we're here.
Prevent complete apocalypse upon this town, you mean?
Yeah, so we are Dan Gleeballs is hirelings, so it were.
Well, look on the bright side. We are gonna know where Gem Drake is gonna be 4 years from now.
And gem mine, right? But beyond that, do we even know what caused that whole thing? We assumed it had something to do with whatever happened in the Fey realm, but do we know for sure?
We don't.
We don't, so... I just hope that Mr. Dangling from the treetop Gleeballs knew exactly where to send us and didn't just toss us into some random point in history as an off joke.
Are you saying this is just sort of like getting the elevator back up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At this point, a little voice comes from behind you on the elevator, one that you would recognize as the voice of said Dan Gleeballs. It just says, "Now I'm not too sure, but I probably would have told you previously. I really don't like it when you make fun of my name."
I'll take it up with the Dominion children. They came up with it.
Yeah. Who are you again?
Wait. And he turns and looks at the person in the elevator. Wait, are you Dan Gleeballs by any chance?
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
I'm going to open
Dan...
the book and have a look to see if I can find this chapter in the book that he gave through the other
You
time.
have a load of blank pages, blank pages, blank pages, and then there is just a note that says, "An elevator ride of most disproportionate momentum."
So, wait. You don't know us, do you?
Should I?
You... Okay, you know what?
A couple of dwarves and a couple of humans having a stroll at the harbor?
And a legendary creature from the fairy tales. On the same elevator.
Well, you know me. Question is, should I know you? Gets a little bit
Yeah,
all
you probably...
jumbled for me.
You sent us back here from, well, some indeterminate point after the world ended.
Really?
Really.
Right. I mean, did I
Just
just
out of
wave my
curiosity.
magic wand and it just happened?
You just drew a door on top of a door
Well, that would make
that
sense.
was
I can do
dead.
that, though. To send other
And you
back,
went...
now that's a bit different. I never thought about that.
Oh, you're going to, it would seem.
Nah, you're having me on. And it was me just thinking, just go get some fresh air at the docks, and what a random group of people find my elevator at this very time.
So, take it or leave it. But since we're on this elevator right now, and you're the one that sent us back, I'm pretty sure you had every intention for us to meet you.
Okay. Hi. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Dangly
What do I
Balls.
look like? What do I
Gives you a
look
low
like
bow.
to you, by the way? Human, yes, but describe.
He looks to everybody else in the party.
Just out of curiosity, do I look red-haired, red-bearded, and overweight?
Should I say no?
No,
This
you
is
should
so
say what...
wild.
You should say what you see. I don't particularly care about my... whatever glamour you put on me's weight.
Is your friend here okay?
Oh, he's had a few too many
None of
drinks,
us
you
are
know.
okay. None
We
of us are okay.
decidedly...
Don't.
Mr. Gleeballs, you sent us through time back to this specific moment 4 years before we even set foot here. So no, none of us are okay. We stepped out from the Feywilds into Is the world affected by some sort of a catastrophe? Ran into you in a dilapidated cathedral. You sent us back by drawing a door on top of the cathedral door and shoving us through.
Now that's the first believable thing you've said all day. Well, I say all day, all 3 minutes of this elevator ride that I can't wait to get rid of. But quite frankly, I don't know you yet, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
And
well,
yes, you are a rather large red-headed fellow with a obviously good-looking lady friend and a couple of youngish-looking dwarfs, I suppose.
he's supposed to be
Get
ancient.
in.
He's supposed to be ancient. I'm supposed to be shaved. And he's going to be asking about food every second now.
Are we there yet? Torfred, just the chip problem child of the party.
So yes, you sent us back after we witnessed some sort of wild calamity.
Sure. Do you know why I did that?
You made absolutely no sense.
All right, beats me. I haven't done it yet.
Wait,
I'll let you know next time.
Lothar,
You're
you want
supposed to
see
be
if you can
alive for
fly?
hundreds of years at this point. What gives?
Well, yes and no. You see,
I mean, this is...
if you've met me, you've met me before I've met you, if that makes sense.
And that the you before you met, the you after you met us, sent us back in time, possibly to meet you here.
Right. Okay. But you don't know why I did that.
Possibly
ask?
so we could prevent this. We did, but the future you was not very keen on giving straight answers.
Well, what did I say then?
I would have taken notes if
As we take
I would
this
have
into
taken
the
notes. I would have taken more notes if my cat wasn't sleeping on
Do
my
you
note.
I'll
do
keep
you
fumbling through the book.
Okay.
do you remember a genie named Hokos? Hokos?
I know Hocus very well. We are very good friends.
Okay. That's one of the things you mentioned, that he owes you some years.
Oh, that's nice. I'm indebted to him at the moment. At least I know there'll be a positive spin on it.
There you go.
Spoilers.
The thing is, you knew a lot about us, but without really letting us know how you learned it. And you kind of just pushed us through the door. So we went
Oh,
through the door.
Voldred, don't you still have his book in your backpack?
All it says is this elevator's gonna take forever. Look at this.
And you can see there is like 4 pages of very small print dedicated to this one chapter.
Does that books mean anything to you?
Sorry, the
As in
cat
the
tail
cat.
just completely.
I require attention, Squire.
Indeed, indeed. He takes a look at the book and says, "No, should it?" As he looks at the initial front page, where you can see on the inside, it says "Diary and Property of Sir Lothar." Though he does note, as you can see, it's a date well into the future. He says, rule number 1, don't read ahead. If I met you, I would have told you this.
But you also know I don't listen to that, do I?
As I don't know you well enough yet. In fact, what are your names? Let's start there. This would help me perhaps get some ground and momentum. Perhaps, maybe I have come across you. Maybe I've heard of some of you. In fact, if I've sent you back, you're probably very world famous, party of heroic deed and people of great importance. Yes?
I'm a fat dwarf looking for food. Do I look like I'm important?
Well, you look like most dwarfs, in my opinion, but needless to say, we can move on from that.
Point made.
I feel like we're not ourselves right now.
I see. Give me a moment. And he pulls out a small vial from his undergarment. And as he uncorks it, as the mic is absolutely harassed, as he uncorks this vial, there is a small handful of what looks like to be black powder. Has this slightly sulfuric aroma to it as this vial is uncorked. And he asks, "Do any of you have like a source of light and heat?"
Yeah, dancing lights.
I need more of the heat component to go with it.
Oh,
I
I've got
would
a flint and
probably
tinder.
have a tinder box. Yeah, or flint and tinder.
Oh, you see, adventurer's kit comes in handy sometimes.
Yeah.
As you create a spark for him, as he drips and drabs and gently pours this fine powder over the flame, as it does, a green, vibrant smoke just explodes, filling the space of this elevator. In that moment, all of you begin to feel like all of your exterior body that is in contact with this incredibly itchy.
hmm.
As Dan says, "Don't worry, nobody panic. That was half expected. I just got the dosage wrong." Though I would say, as you just watch as he waves his wand, which is similar looking to the wand in which you've seen him previously use or use in the future from now, as he produces a small gust cantrip. The dust is cleared, scattered around. All of you, looking back at each other, still see exactly as you were, though you can see from the look on Dan Gleebles' face, there is a bit of concern as he says, "Ah, and here I was hoping you were having a laugh and having me on. So this is who you look like. Right.
Do I still look fat and redheaded?
No. Very
And
much
then
no.
yeah, this
I'm sorry, that was obviously a bad joke by my end. Well, maybe I won't be sorry in the future. It depends what you've done to me. It'd probably be evened out. I kind of keep a tally like that. And you two, he looks at both the doors and goes, "Oh, Voldreth."
Oh,
Like,
old hag.
I see. Um, Gosh, you guys really must have done a number on me for me to be this angry at you. uh, right. Well. Oh, hello. As he turns to Ariel, says, "Oh, you are. Oh, you're one of those. I see. Okay. Interesting.
What does
Uh,
Ariel look like to the others? Is this
the same
just
Ariel
like
form that you've all known her as.
okay, okay?
Though he begins to describe your natural form to you.
Mm, she'll just shrug.
yeah, that's what she looks like most of the time.
I see. Probably not, if I understand how you work. He seems quite timid in the moment, as he is halfway up this elevator now, and he's got nowhere to go.
So why do you think your future self sent us back here?
Um, Beats me. You said you witnessed something.
The citadel was destroyed.
Ah, well,
And
that would
probably along
probably
with
be a good
everything
reason.
else. Probably along with everything else.
Yeah, there didn't look like there was much hope for any part of the world that we trekked on before meeting you.
Right. So you've met Hocus, which is a being of immense power, and very few individuals in existence even know his name, let alone where he's from.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we found his lair in the Feywild as we were traveling.
I see.
He was
Okay. You
considerate.
didn't find his lair; he found you. Uh, That will do
Yeah,
delay a bit.
but
However,
yeah.
I must say, right, okay. Who is this Hocus? You see that he rolls his eyes back into his head, and the purple in them goes dull, and you just see black void in his eyes. Begins muttering something very quietly. Do any of you speak Sylvan?
Yes.
Okay. You hear. Big H, my man, how you doing? It's DG. Please tell me you're not doing a number with sending a bunch of weirdos at me right now. I don't know who they are, and they said they know you. Can I just get a day off, please? He sits there quiet after this. Seems to be processing something. His eyes turn back to purple, the blackness fades. Balls. Right, so you're an IOU from me, is the long and short of it.
What does that even mean?
Well, it means I did Hocus a favor, so he owes me a favor, and then I've called in that favor and sent you back to me as part of the favor that I owe you, that I owe him, that he owes me.
Uh-huh.
Good, I'm
Well,
glad
this
you
makes
followed.
just as much sense as everything. Makes it just as much sense as everything else involving you and the Feywilds and the Gene and the Hag and oh, there's a hag
Hag?
in the Feywilds that wants to kill all the gods.
Well, there's usually a hag who wants to kill everybody that they come across in the Feywilds at some point.
This one once has it in with the gods. By the way, Lady Malice, I believe, is the name she goes with at least 4 years from now.
Lady Malice. Lady Malice. Lady Malice.
Mary the Mad?
Oh, Mary the Mad? Yes, I know Mary the Mad. Everybody knows Mary the Mad. Well, okay. Everybody who goes to the Feywild knows of Mary the Mad, yes. Yes, okay.
Well,
Right. Well, if she's involved and Hocus is involved, and I'm involved and you're involved, we must all be very, very fucked.
Well, the
One
only
serious
thing fucked
question.
so far
One
is
serious
that there
question.
wasn't any food at the dock.
No food at the dock. What food would you like?
Habemos casare.
Any
I'm gonna what?
uncultured food.
An onion.
Sure.
An onion. Okay. And he reaches into a small pouch and pulls out a fresh onion that has got a little bit of soil on it. Hands at you. Right. Okay. Good. One easily appeased. To you, he turns to Voldreth.
I'll take an ass coffee.
You'll have to brew it, but pulls back. Here's a handful of beans. Ma'am,
I don't know. Food would be nice, I suppose, but I can deal with conjured food too in the worst case scenario.
I assume you know how to,
Um,
or is there anything I can
mm,
offer you?
no, it's all good, thank you.
Very nice. Good.
I'll just go to a tavern or something.
I see. Reserved and polite. Nicer than these three
Yes.
individuals. And speaking of, he seems to be away with the fairies at the moment, as Sir Lothar is looking over his shoulder, out to sea. As he turns to the rest of you and says, well, I would say this. I don't know why you're here just yet, but it's going to be of some great importance. Something will be happening today. And that's of great concern, because I was on my way to the keep, and I was just coming down here to settle my nerves. As I believe I was supposed to convey some news to an old friend. Well, I say friend, more of an acquaintance. About some recent investigations that have come to light. I'm just deciding now if that's the correct course of action. You being here at this moment in time, how do I know it's to stop me doing that or if it's to encourage me to do the very same thing?
Hmm. Who would this acquaintance be?
Well, we go way back. She's here as an emissary from lands far from here. In fact, she's not too dissimilar to your companion here. Bit of a shape changer.
Hmm. I don't think we've met that yet.
No, I'm just deciding if you should. I
Hmm.
must ask this. I will have said a series of questions. Well, let me think. How would I phrase it? I have questions for you now, and you must have had questions for me. How did I answer? They would have been yes/no questions.
Beats me.
Here's the thing. You did not say a single straight thing. And most of it flew over my head. So, Ariel, did he ask us anything at all?
I'm pretty sure there was something that felt like a riddle. Mm, He did seem to know a whole lot about us. I do remember he was asking lots of things, but also knowing lots of things. Hmm.
Pretty sure he asked us where we came from. Which was the Feywilds at the time.
I mean,
Yep.
wasn't he just reading straight out of the book that Volrat's holding?
Was he? I mean,
Well,
with
I'm,
everything?
I'm sure you read some passages from that explaining it.
May I take a
Surprisingly,
look?
what we've been up to.
I'll pass the book.
You
Might as
watch
well.
as he begins to just thumb through the pages, and as he's doing so, the ink is materializing on the pages rapidly. And he just keeps going and going, and he seems to be looking at the sort of inside indent where you would notice the dates are being recorded. He gets to about.
Not fair. You get to use that more than we do.
Oh, I'm intentionally not reading. I'm just checking dates.
Of course.
Keeps going through them. Did you say a couple of years? How many years?
3 or 4?
Four-ish, apparent, according to you.
Yeah.
4 years in the future. The return of the Feywild. The return from the Feywild.
I mean,
There
we
was a
don't know
mining
exactly.
operation for Residium in the Feywild
He
that
begins
had
reading.
changed a lot of things.
Would we,
Turns the page.
above table, would we have known what the date was before we entered the Fey realm?
Yes.
And how would that equate to now?
Now, as there's been a turn of an age with the Battle of the Ruination, there's been effectively a resetting of the clock. You left
Mm-hmm.
in BR 99, which was after Battle of Ruination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have effectively arrived back in the moment, as Voldreth would attest, that you're in BR 96 in the first
Right.
page of this book. As he
Okay.
turns to make a perception check as you're looking over the shoulder. He's keeping the pages very close to his chest, but you can sort of see the top end of it.
All of us, or
Just you, Torbrun, because your passive is really high.
25?
Okay. On the 25,
Nice.
you just catch, it says BR 124. That's the page he's on as he reads from Return from the Feywild.
Oh.
Ooh.
Does that say 124?
Ah, spoilers. He pulls the book out of your line of sight. I'm just trying to catch up onto what you've failed to retain.
Well,
Which one of you wrote this?
you didn't really give it.
Or which one of you
Is it-
will write this?
Is it spoilers if it's what we've been doing?
Wait, didn't you say that it had my handwriting in it last time? Do I remember correctly?
It has your name in the front of it, yes.
I'm pretty sure I started it at one point.
So as he flicks thumbs to the front. So you're Sir Lothar. I finally have a name. I've been
I would
asking
be-
and I've not been
I
getting.
would be Sir Lothar.
So you're Sir Lothar.
I mean,
Okay, right. I'm going to tell you something now, and you're going to remember this for however long it takes you to pen this book. Okay?
go ahead.
You're going to remember this. I am going to remember what I need to tell Dan when I next see him.
Hmm. Well,
Would you two mind leaving that as a permanent impression? Why don't you just thump him just so he really remembers that?
go ahead,
Anyone?
Torbrun.
Wait, you want me to hit you in the face?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Never been hit by a dwarf yet.
All right. Attack roll.
Well, if he's not avoiding it, there's no roll needed.
Sure.
It's just an unarmed strike. If you want to put your weight behind it, it's an unarmed strike. Otherwise, it's 1 damage.
Yeah, I'll just make it 1 damage.
Okay. An iron fist out of nowhere.
Yeah. You hit like a dwarf.
Now, what did I just say?
I'm going to remember what I'm going to tell Dan when I see him next time.
Hi,
What's
I'm
going to-
Dan.
First need to
This is
tell
the next
him.
time you're going to see me. What do you need to tell me?
You didn't tell me.
Oh, God. Right. Okay. No, you wouldn't, because this is the time you're meeting me. He sort of looks down, and he seems to be figuring something out in his head. So that would mean you would know then, but you wouldn't know now, and you would write it down in the book. Turns the page. Proceed
So-
with the meeting, is what Dan said. Well, look at that. 50 years from now, you can remember something.
50 years
So-
from now, I'll be alive that long.
Supposedly, we are not the we from this age. Because earlier today, we ran into Lothar from today's age.
Ah,
Yeah.
welcome to my life. You see, I stumbled into a portal once, and it really backfired, and I have been lost in time ever since.
You used to be part of the last Seneschal's entourage, didn't you?
Oh, for a small period of time, a couple of weeks, yes. A couple of weeks for him, a couple of millennia for me. Watching, rewatching, going back,
He was
revisiting, pulling strings, helping where I can, etc., etc., etc. You know.
he was fond of you. Some of his speeches and essays still circulate in the Dominion. You're mentioned in quite a few.
Yes, and some are rather less flattering. I have read a few. However, I prefer to, go back and talk to the original every now and again. But you see, the problem is I never know when I'm gonna just be moved. So I just sort of take each day as it comes, really.
Be moved, so somebody else is moving you?
Well, ho to some degree hocus, and others it's more this. And he pulls out a small black dodecahedral shaped.
What the hell is that?
Has anyone here
your
got
load.
Sir Lothar
mushrooms?
says, well,
Maybe.
Some bad reactions perhaps, or in fact, it may even have been my sulfur. My apologies. But the effect is probably I may have spiked it with some laughing powder instead.
Oh my god, you're killing Lothar here a little.
Lothar, if you want to kill yourself, you know you can just jump off, right?
where's the
Well,
fun in
no,
that?
no, he can't. He has to write this book. So,
So what you're saying is, and I will sort of grab Lothar, if I have to throw him off,
The book will
Another me is,
disappear.
I mean,
another me is probably going
I don't know.
step through a portal somewhere.
I don't know. And at this point, I'm a little bit too afraid to tempt fate. But if I need to proceed with this meeting, that's fine. I would presume I need to bring you all with me, because otherwise, why the hell would I have sent you here in the first place? Though,
Makes just as much sense to you as it does to us.
sure. Although apologies, by now, that guise will have faded. So you're back to your unnatural selves, shall we say?
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
it's
a bit
very
of a
strapping
illusory
looking.
magic. Rather large and strong, potent incantations will reveal your true selves, though to lesser qualities of magic and those of the less perceptive, you will be as I see you now.
which is
Well,
blonde haired.
Very much so, yes.
okay.
You could dye it, but
So that's
I don't know how that would even work, to be honest. Yes, you're not exactly inhabiting a body. You just have an illusion. Yes, okay, never mind. Perhaps. Well, don't try it. Maybe it'll be fun. I don't know. Probably won't work. Anyway, so right. Well, oh look, it's my stop as the the elevator has finished its ascent. He looks
The
quite
only
nervously.
stop.
As he'll try and make his way through you and say, "Well, keep up. I'm not waiting for anyone. The good lady doesn't wish to really be kept waiting unnecessarily."
oh,
Are we supposed to
might as
join
well
the
follow
meeting?
you, right?
I assume so. If I've sent you here now,
I was about to get lunch. Fine.
Ah,
I will.
hey,
I will just start
between
eating the onion that he gave me.
just a roar on you.
between
Don't eat the
Wait,
under
wait,
onion. I can give you a wild potato. Remember? You can make potatoes and onions. At least cook yourself a good meal.
I already took a bite.
It's not too late. You can still cook the rest of it. Here you go. I'll give
Fine.
you the
I will just
potato.
put this onion with a large chunk out of it back in my backpack.
Part-eaten
Yeah.
onion. So
Yeah. My
you
rucksack that someone's one potato are gonna get so sick of that potato eventually.
So as the party
I know.
makes their way,
You know you're supposed to bake them, right?
Bake. There are so many ways to eat a potato.
Yeah.
as the
And all of them
party,
are wrong except the baked ones.
Okay.
Oh, this is why the Dominion cuisine gets boring.
as the party, on that note,
You know, you
makes
don't
their
need
way
to
back
reinvent every type of food.
towards the city with the grumbles and discontent. The spring in Dan Gleeble's step is vast and impressive for such a small character. He moves at great pace, a little bit of a brisk stroll for the two dwarfs, and sorry, for the two humanoid individuals, and more of a light jog for the two dwarfs to keep pace if you wish to do so. As he makes his way into the city and leads you all the way up through the varying tiers, the different gatehouses, seems to be showing to each gatehouse a small pin in his lapel, as they immediately wave you all on through upon sight of such an acknowledgement. Second tier, third tier, fourth tier, and the fifth and final tier, where you were here about an hour and a half ago. The cathedral on the left and the great keep on the right to which you previously entered. Gleeballs lead you towards the keep once more. His pace finally slows, striding in to the formal desks that you previously saw. There is a pen, a quill, a quill parchment that elevates itself erect in midair, expectantly. And you hear at the top of his voice, Dan Gleeballs, here to see an old friend. A moment later, an usher comes through from one of the side rooms. Mr. Gleeballs, it's a pleasure. I believe she's already waiting for you in one of the upstairs chambers. And are you bringing these in as well? They'll have to sign in, I'm afraid. You know, it's policy. Dan turns to you all and says, well, I presume you know how to say your names aloud.
Yes, do we give our actual names or made up ones?
He looks at you in absolute disbelief and then immediately tries to, oh, you're always so funny. Oh, yes, we definitely shouldn't be giving fake names in an establishment like this now, should we? Oh, gosh. Oh, forgive my drink. It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
My name's
As well.
Volky Smellies.
The quill immediately writes this down. Volky Smellies.
Sir Albrecht Ravenswood.
Sir Albrecht Ravenswood.
Bedouin Ironhammer.
Could you spell the first one for us, please?
Barrowin. Bedouin.
Barrowin Ironhammer.
I'm Farai.
Can you spell that, please?
Farai.
Okay. Farai. No surname?
No.
Farai.
I
Okay.
usually I only got my first name, and I am looking for fame to bring me my surname.
Ah. Farai the Unfamous.
Yes.
I see.
For now.
Thank you all for signing in. Fourth door on the right upstairs. Dan says, thank you very much, James. Don't stay waiting for me. I don't know how long I'll be. Right, you miscreants, causing more trouble here than you're worth. Should have hired a better party. Right, okay. As he makes his way up a large staircase winding, you can see adorning its walls, there are various portraits. You can see a great battle piece that lines sort of like a 6 to 10 foot long canvas. You can just see engraved at the bottom. It's the Great Battle of Ruination circa BR00, and you can just see a fantastic depiction of all sorts of angelic-like beings, all hellish-like minions on the battle, and great explosions and fire and catapults and siege. It's a wonderful piece, true masterpiece of art. And
Is
you
that
just
is that Dominion?
uh, wouldn't know. I was there, but don't remember it looking
No,
like
no, I
that.
mean the art piece. The art piece looks
Oh,
like
probably.
something the retired knight of the Dominion would make.
Probably. But I would say, if anything, I think they usually sign it on the back. But I'm not pulling that thing off the wall, and don't you dare either.
Oh no, don't worry. I'm not that curious a person.
Right. What was it? Fourth door on the right? Third door on the right? I can't remember. And you can see as you've got this wonderfully lavender-coloured carpets unfurled in this large corridor with multiple rooms on each side, all with a large door, closed oak, golden fur line handles.
I believe it was
Huge
the
knockers.
fourth.
Fourth door. As he goes, knocks on it. No response. Uses the knocker. The door immediately opens. I've been waiting a rather long time, Mr. Gleeballs, and unlike you, as I'm sure, it is a bit of a rare commodity for the rest of us. You can see sort of like the smile vanish from his face as his poker face appears. Ira, my old friend, how are you doing? It's a pleasure. I'm so sorry it's been this long. Do you mind if my recent compatriots join us in this? Please, have a seat.
What's the name?
Byra.
Ah, okay. Just wasn't wanted to make sure. Nice.
As you all troop on into the room, you can see this is a small boardroom that has a table with several chairs pulled out expectantly on your side with two on the other. You can see a old-looking, human-looking female that immediately sort of is a little bit aggressive in their posture as the rest of you siphon on in. And a moment or two later, as soon as the door closes, the human form drops and you see a half-orc individual. Sat next to her is a rather disgruntled-looking, frowning, red-skinned tiefling with long curling horns all the way back behind his head. He sat there with his arms crossed. He says, "Now, last time you held us up much longer than this, so I applaud you for that." Byra sort of nudges him. "Behave. We're not the ones who called this meeting, remember?" He says, "No. No, unfortunately not." Now, Mr. Gleeballs, it's a bit of a happenstance that we're even here today at the same time, as it always is our meetings. To which I therefore assume you're aware of the news I'm about to provide our esteemed acquaintance, Varney. Oh, and by the way, for my callous approach, introductions won't necessarily be required. I would say, however, if you're in the presence of Mr. Dan here, then I trust you implicitly as I trust him. Though I do request that you return such behaviors.
What do you mean?
That you take me for what I say to be true. As much as you trust him, you shall trust me. And my associate.
No, it's not like we have any other recourse.
Indeed. Back to business then. It's been many long years of searching, but we have finally found the remains of the staff. It's been shattered and splintered, but we believe we have most of it here. As you watch as the tiefling unfurls a small pouch, and out of it begins to reach his hand and pull a long, gnarly-looking staff that, as you think it keeps on going, gets to about 3 feet in length before you can see it's splintered. And as you pay attention, you can see this thing has been cracked and shattered and awkwardly replaced and rebuilt together. And you can see what remains to be sort of like some golden filigree that's going all the way throughout this staff, shattered and torn equally in all these segments that have been recollated and reconstructed.
That is some fine craftsmanship.
It was. It took a lot to destroy this artifact. Even more to destroy its previous and former wielder.
Then why is it back together?
Well, it's not. There's most of it missing, and precisely the top half. This is what we've been recovering over the last century or so. Scattering and
Why?
finding little pieces. Why?
And it was probably destroyed for a reason.
Oh. No. Very much so. That's not what we're here to discuss, says Pyra. Dan, the message I wish to convey to Varney is to plead with him to not pursue the reconstruction of this artifact. You understand why. Dan doesn't say anything. She says, I implore you not to permit this to continue. I assume the Dan before me today carries the memories of what happened on that day back then. Says, yes, they do. Now, you have tried to get out of this before. Yes, I have. But no. I was there, not necessarily by your side, but I watched you charge in. And what can I say? The way the sun glanced off your fur, please, she says, interrupting him. We're not here to reminisce. That is for another time. I need you to convince Varney today that this is lost to the ages and should not be pursued.
Would anyone here fill us in what exactly going on with this staff?
The tiefling stands and says, To those, if I may, she nods. Uninformed of the setting, the scenario. Here lies before you the majority remnants of the great relic, the Staff of Azuth. The very weapon that was used to create and seal away the banishing of all the gods present in the Battle of the Ruination on that very day. Its magic ripped our world asunder and decimated and desecrated the lands as a result of this spell.
And why would somebody want to rebuild it?
We have been hoping to reforge as much of it as possible, to store it away as far from possible, so that history can learn to forget it. Though it will never be reassembled completely, you need only a handful of the items of this artifact to be able to eventually resummon the whole thing in its entirety. It is impervious that we collect the original pieces to prevent that from happening.
So
Why not just leave it destroyed?
Unfortunately, each part of this item seems to have created a bit of echoes, almost like rifts in time scattered across all the ages past and present and future. Events unfolding and unfolding beyond the initial scope of that fateful day.
So, if someone with just a fraction of pieces can summon the rest, why haven't you?
To do so would rebuild the staff in its entirety.
Right?
We don't want that.
Oh, I mean, you're good on the way to do that, by the looks of it.
The head of this staff was originally the original remains of an ancient pit lord of great hellish dominion. We do not wish to reawaken what that may bring.
But you would collect it if you found it.
If we assemble all but the original head, and somebody else finds the head, they will not be able to merge and resummon the staff, for it already exists,
I see.
and vice versa. It is a race against time.
So
For we
by the
believe
sounds
the
of
head
it, it
has been
sounds
found.
right. I was about to ask. Finding the hat would be the simpler way of going about that.
Rumor has it, it has surfaced somewhere in the Iron Dominion.
Why am
Oh,
I not
oh
surprised,
no.
Lothar?
Knights of the Dominion don't particularly take good to the occult. I've known quite a few. If you think I'm dour, you should meet them.
I'll turn to Lothar and just sort of get close to him a little bit. Do you think this staff has something to do with 4 years from now?
Yeah.
Might. I mean, I obviously know what it is. Would Lothar know what the staff is? Would he have read legends about it?
As you are only seeing the wooden handle with its filigree, and you're not seeing the complete picture here, this is just a wooden staff that's of clearly great importance.
And that was used in the Battle of Rumination. But that basically, like, this is really basic, superficial understanding of the situation. But Ariel is thinking, okay, so we were sent back from the future to the past to prevent a great calamity, and this thing looks like it could cause a great calamity. So she's just going to ask, do you think that's why we were sent back in time?
Are you also
Out loud.
realm walkers? Here
Not
with Dan?
If that's
exactly.
what you, if that's
I
what you
don't
call.
know.
Sorry, DM misspoke. Are you also rift walkers?
Rift Wars.
Whatever those are.
You traverse time differently to the rest of us.
Not by intent.
I think it was Dan that allowed it to happen, but I'm not sure.
So this time is not your own?
This time is not our
Well,
own.
considering we just ran into a drunk version of my friend next to me, I would...
We are not exactly ourselves either.
On that note, what do we look like to you?
Two
I'll
dwarves
just face
and two
palm.
humans.
What color is
To do
his hair? And I point at Lothar.
A
Well,
very bright red. I wouldn't know, I'm colorblind, says the tiefling.
Dan, for the love of God, can you fill them in?
We need not an explanation. You walk with Dan, you walk a very, very risky path. We leave that to you. But we
just out of curiosity, why, if that staff, if anybody wanted to remake it, why would they? If it nearly shattered the world once. I mean, nearly is an understatement. It did. It
Well,
just
they
somehow
want to
didn't
hide it
die.
away. They just said so.
Byra eyes down.
Oh,
We wouldn't
you
possibly
want to
know
hide it away?
someone
Sure.
who would have always have had an appetite for higher beings, had a wish of more important status than. So sheepishly looks down. Look, I may have helped and put him in the situation he's in, but Varney's a good soul. I trust he'll make the right decision.
I have it on decent accord that he did not make the right decision.
She looks
We
at you.
saw a future. We saw a future in which this whole citadel was destroyed and people had sought refuge in the church, and everyone was dead inside, including Varney.
I need you all to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Okay.
Wisdom.
Oh my god.
The DC is 15, so we have. It's a magical effect, so I believe you have advantage on that, Ariel.
I don't know if I do.
A 13.
I don't know if I do. I don't see anything in my sheet that says that I do.
Okay, no problem then. So for now then, Lothar and Ariel. Just a little bit of like a temperature change in the room. The others, you succeed. It's at this moment you hear a knocking on the door. As the door opens, and an individual draped and adorned in formal popal clothing walks in, with a great big beaming smile on his face, as his mitre is taken off and hung up on the wall, and a staff is placed against the door as he closes it. As Varney, his arms outstretched, says, "Byra, it's so good to see you again. And Mr. Gleebles, it's always a pleasure. How recent or how far have you come from? Just so I am up to speed." Dan says, "Varney, it's you know me. It's always hard to tell. Have you been to the orchard yet, or have you just come back from the that small adventure? What did you do? Let me see. The fishing trip. Yes, the fishing trip. And you can make an insight check for those who are paying intent.
Side. No.
Okay.
Oh god, look at that.
You see, Byra's body language has changed. She's gone from an incredibly formal and important to a much more relaxed persona. The tiefling, however, is still upright and rigid and giving off don't say this, don't say this, don't say this personality. As Varney sits down at the head of the table that you're sat at, and says, "Right, is this it?" And he points to the staff that the tiefling is holding out. He nods his head and says, "This is everything we've been able to create and find. But please, this has been over a century in the making, and we said we would show you the efforts, but we need to end this excursion. There's no more remains in Eartha. We have scoured every single piece." Varney holds up a hand. He says, "Look, I know you've done everything you can, but I have it on good authority that perhaps something has recently come to light that you may or may not have had slip through your fingers." The smile drops from Byra. A glance is exchanged with Dan. A certain key figurehead of this relic, this artifact, this key. The Staff of Azuth, an almighty artifact, and should it have been restorable, well, wouldn't want it falling into the wrong hands now, would we? Oh, come on! What's with all the doom and gloom around today? In fact, why are you all here? He turns to you. Did I pay you, or?
And Salothar just tilts his head like, come on, honestly, why do you think we're here?
Oh, I see. So was that all just a facade this morning, just to scope out the place? Oh, okay, right. Okay, well, more fool me. Are you with? Yeah, okay, you're with Dan. Right. Okay, I see. So Dan, next time you're gonna bring an entourage, please, can you just tell me? I'll just have put more, plates out. I'd have made it better, for the meal afterwards. But eh, just give me a moment. And he steps outside quickly as he begins to shout instructions to a servant. It's like you just hear like, "We need to prepare more places. There's 4 more guests for the dinner." Yes, I know. I'm sorry. Tell the head chef I'm ever so sorry. I know I do this all the time, but this was really actually unexpectedly. Although I say that all the time, but this genuinely was unexpectedly, and this is what you're hearing. Whilst the door is still slightly ajar, Dan says, "Everybody here was sent by me and Hocus today for a specific reason. I don't know what that reason is, but are we all of the united opinion that this staff does not get reformed?" He's looking around to everybody at the table. Byron nods. Tiefling nods.
Lothar just...
Well, just not.
Ariel enthusiastically nods.
I will slow nod.
Right. Unanimously. Everything we say from this point is to encourage the reassembling of the staff and to say how impossible it will be. We're going to have to bluff and do a double negative here. Because if we say it can't be done, he's going to push for it to be done. If we say it can be done, it is only a matter of time and effort and resources. And we will have to arrange that goose chase to be. Hi, Varney. Yes, thanks for coming back in. No, we were just saying how we were doing everything we could. And I know we've been really trying. And this is obviously a huge amount of work. We're going to need more time. And I don't know where they were digging and what dwarf ruin they found that staff figurehead in, but it must have been shut like a lightning bolt so far deep into Moradin's well. I don't want to think about it. That avatar was lay wasted long ago. That Demogorgon made good work of him, didn't he? But I gotta say, when this thing blew, it blew like a missile. I do not know how long it is going to take to reassemble this staff. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but we will do our best. Varney says, patting Dan on the back. Dan, you should know I know when you're lying. My concern is only as to why you're trying to not tell me everything. And if it's just embarrassment that someone's found the other half of this staff before you, that's fine. I forgive you. It's not a problem. It's my problem to resolve. And we'll look to resolve it. Big one upstairs owes me a few favors. Call a few in. Head of his church and all. Can't exactly refuse me. But I do have to say, I thought our loyalty was worth a bit more than this. Dan's silent. You can see that Byra's gone slightly white-knuckled. As Varney reaches his hand down and says, "May I take a look so far at what we found?" The tiefling immediately looks to Byra. And Byra says, "Well, you can see it's not finished, and perhaps we should, we'll just hold on to it for safekeeping, as she's trying to take it away. At which point you can see as Byra reaches out, grasps onto this stave. She's attempting to pull it towards her, though all of you can see there is a small shimmer at the other end of a mage hand holding it firmly in place. As Varney says, like old times. Byra says, unfortunately, I had hoped for a different outcome, she says, as Varney nods and says, well, I was really looking forward to that dinner. At that moment, you hear the terrifying sound of ripping muscles, skin, as Byra immediately begins to grow in size, and within a split second has transformed herself into a ferociously humongous bear filling half of this room. At the same moment, you watch as spells go flying from Varney over your shoulders towards Byra, one being fizzled out immediately as the tiefling has clearly casted a counterspell. As you all realize you go to move yourselves, I need you all to make a Constitution saving throw, please. You have disadvantage because of an item that this character has. So we've got a 4, a 10, a 10, and a 10.
All the
Unfortunately,
10s.
all of you feel that you are unable to move. It's as if you have had time around you stopped. But you can watch transpiring in this split moment. Spells being slung across the table, spells fizzling out. You watch as a huge blue shard of ice just materializes before you all and gets hurtled into the bear. The bear shunned into the back wall. At this moment, Dan turns you all and says, well, I think you know what to do. Throws the staff to you, Foldrith. And he immediately waves his wand, and the lights of this room vanish from sight. Overhead, a small caw, a chirp. As your senses come back to you, moonlight pierces and illuminates the skies above your heads as you're all face down, looking up to the exposed midnight sky. On some grass, overlooking nothing. As your vision comes back to you, you're outside the citadel. The sea, air, blowing, salt, fills your nostrils. As you realize you are currently on the outskirts of town, of the Golden Citadel itself. In the very same place, Torbrun, that you realize you started not a few days from your perspective before. As we'll end tonight's session there.
Ah,
Oh,
cliffhangers,
When you
cliffhangers.
say when you say on the outside of the citadel, do you mean like
Outside the gates.
Yeah, you're
outside the
beyond
gates?
beyond the citadel itself, beyond the city. You're just on the woodlands
Okay.
looking at the city.
why give the
Okay.
crazy stuff to the crazy dwarf?
You seem like the one who needs it most.